Next up, in a major diplomatic push, the India and EU free trade agreement inches closer to reality amid plans for high-level visits to New Delhi early next year. Now, this follows yesterday's joint press conference, press release, in fact, from the 6th India-EU Strategic Partnership Review meeting and 11th Foreign Policy and Security consultations in Brussels, where both sides hailed substantial progress in talks and reaffirmed commitment to a balanced deal by year-end, and also outlined a new strategic EU and India agenda for deeper ties in trade, tech, security and sustainability. In fact, Sumita is here to take us through all of the details.
So remember the India-EU deal that has been one of the big priorities of not just the Indian administration but the EU administration as well. We've heard EU Commission Chief Ursula von der Leyen said on several occasions that trade with India is a priority. Economic and bilateral ties with India are a priority for the EU. Remember, because it's not just one or two countries. The whole world has been disrupted by Donald Trump's tariffs. And of course, these geopolitical disruptions have impacted EU as well. And EU is looking at India as a trusted geography for trade, for economic partnerships as well. Given the fact that India is a geography which has seen consistent growth, consistent GDP growth, we have a big domestic dividend as well. So definitely this is an important priority for the European Union. And earlier this year, when the leaders of both the geographies met, EU and India, they decided that we will be looking at finalization of a free trade agreement by the end of this year. Now, as far as the free trade agreement is concerned, we're given to understand that at least 10 to 12 of the chapters have found convergence, so whether it's related to agriculture, non-agricultural products. And then, of course, there are some contentious issues, roadblocks, essentially, that have emerged in the past few months. CBAM has been one of the key issues as far as this particular pact is concerned. In fact, a couple of months back when talks were on in their initial stages, there was also, a proposal that perhaps we could look at CBAM as a parallel engagement and not as part of this FTA, but but we need to wait for that sort of clarity to come in. Other than that, steel and auto sectors, they have also remained some of the more difficult issues. But overall convergence has been achieved in 10 to 12 chapters. There are some pending chapters that are pertaining. In November, also we did see the trade team come to India for these negotiations. And of course, we were told back then that EU wants reduction in tax on products like wine, spirits, meat. And of course, CBAM was discussed at length. However, India has put its strong position as far as the CBAM issue is concerned. So definitely all eyes are on late January. And of course, all the developments pertaining to this particular FTA.
All right, so that was Sumita's report on the latest on India-EU trade, but we also caught up with experts to decode this latest development. Listen in to what they had to say.
So I think, look, what is driving for both partners, the EU and India, is the slow, should we say, the falling apart of the WTO-based international trading system. The WTO is now effectively an option for countries. MFN status is no longer applied in many trade negotiations, particularly by the United States. Its tribunal system no longer functions. So all major countries, major trading countries are saying, what is my plan B? And to do that, I need to have FTAs with all my major trading partners. The EU is also seeing the same thing, partly also, like us, they're also looking at the fact that America has become a sort of blunderbuss, blowing away parts of the international trading structure.
I think in trade negotiations, the first thing which one needs to bear in mind, especially with respect to the US, is that it is always looking for more and more. And once you have given all that you could at a particular stage, they will ask for more. And one of the things which you need to recall is the KORUS agreement, the Korea-US agreement. It was signed and almost sealed, and then it went to the US Senate. And the US Senate said, no, we want more. So they sent it back to the Koreans, and there were unruly scenes, fisticuffs, in fact, and between the opposition and the ruling party, because the ruling party said that they wanted a fresh look at things and, more concessions to be given to the US. So that is how it takes place.
India's largest trading partner today, with 120 billion euros of trade which is exchanged between the two countries. In fact, I was myself shocked when I was doing some research. The trade between EU and India has increased 90% in the last decade. There are about 6,000 European companies present in India. So this is the statistics, the platform on which this agreement is being negotiated and hopefully will be signed.
All right, so that's the latest expert word coming in on the latest development on India and EU ties. But on that note, we'll take a very short break. We'll be right back and see how the Asia Pacific markets have opened up.